What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, continuing my deep dive into covers albums. Not a fan of covers albums. Really, there's only one that I've always said I love, Guns N' Roses' Spaghetti Incident. Finding out there's others that I actually enjoy as I do this deep dive. But that's why I'm doing this, to find a covers album that I like. I'm really critical about them, especially in the modern age when you can pretty much stream anything or you have access to like ordering anything. So it's like, most covers albums, when I listen to them, like, I have these songs in the OG version. I don't need this. But I've been surprised. So today I got two because they're both from Lucinda Williams. When COVID hit, Lucinda Williams started a series called Lou's Jukebox. Lou being Lucinda, L-U, in which she did like covers of artists or covers of genres. She's done 7 so far. I'm going to discuss the first one that she released back in 2021 and the most recent one, which she released back in 2024. And I'm actually going to start with the one which she released in 2024 because it is my least favorite of the two. I'm then going to rank both of these among all the others that I've already done. So the first one that she did is Lucinda Williams Sings the Beatles from Abbey Road. And I will say this. It is the first artist ever in the history of Abbey Road to record Beatles material other than the Beatles. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, both of these albums, this one and the one I'm going to talk about next, sound like Lucinda Williams albums as far as the instrumentation. You got that sort of Americana roots country vibe that Lucinda Williams brings. And so I think the most interesting thing of this release, the Beatles release, is hearing these Beatles song with sort of a full country band, a full roots band. She doesn't stray too far from the actual core material, which I think gets to the problem with covering the Beatles. Is unless you get to songs that are purposefully over the top, like an I Am the Walrus or a Strawberry Fields production or Stuff on the White Album, in which the excess is kind of the point. The Beatles were really efficient. And like, you can't do a Beatles song without whatever that melody is. And if there's a guitar line, it's usually essential, like something. You can't do something without the bow, 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 bow. I mean, it's just not something, right? Something. And so it's really hard to like, if you're going to stick and honor the songs, there's really not much else you can do to a Beatles song without kind of messing it up, because they kind of nailed it the first time. So you're messing with greatness. And there are things on here that work, mainly because of Lucinda Williams' particular vocal style. But then there are a lot of things where I'm just like, you're not bringing the Lennon energy. You're maybe not doing what Paul does. So it's a pretty mixed bag for me. Opens up with Don't Let Me Down, which sounds pretty good. This was a really good song choice. Interesting for a lead track. Maybe something a little more up for a lead track, but I think this actually works. Pretty straightforward version, but I think this sort of roots, country-ish Americana vibe that Lucinda Williams is bringing just gives it a richness that the original doesn't. So there is that just full sound richness with her voice and that sort of less husky, gravelly type, nuanced little delivery. Don't let me down. Don't let me down brings. The second song is I'm Looking Through You. Just sticks too close to the original. Interestingly enough, a lot of the songs on here that don't work, I'm Looking Through You, Can't Buy Me Love, Let It Be, parts of I Got a Feeling, and The Long and Winding Road, McCartney songs. I just think whatever Lucinda's bringing and whatever McCartney bring, it's just not they don't really go well together. And so I think Lucinda doing a pretty true to the original McCartney song, it does not play to her strengths. Where the Lennon stuff, on the other hand, that sort of emotional rawness that they both bring, play to her strengths. So I'm Looking Through You just doesn't really connect. It's maybe just a bad choice. Maybe just a slightly underwhelming of a song for someone like Lucinda. Can't Buy Me Love for the same choice. Just too close to the original, but I don't think Lucinda's bringing the joy that McCartney brings. So like, I don't know when the last time I was like, I got to hear Can't Buy Me Love. I was in the mood to listen to Can't Buy Me Love after this. Rain works. Rain works really well. That full just band sound, really good. There are some backing vocal choices that don't work for me, but her voice works, the vibe works. This to me is like right in Lucinda Williams' pocket. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, a perfect song when the Beatles did it. Unless you're going to do this live and bring a little live energy, I just don't think you should touch this song. They pull it off, but it's a hard one, and I just want to hear the original. I just think the original is so perfect. Just don't mess with it. Let It Be. Let It Be misses the Paul McCartney, just like, I'm going to go cheesy and I'm going to go big. Misses that awesome attack in the Harrison solo in the middle when that part comes in. This is just a little bit too much of a low energy take for me. Your Blues works. Great choice to hear somebody else doing a Your Blues. A little bit of a more reined in as far as just the guitar attack, but the intensity of the original is preserved. She's doing great. Her vocal performance is excellent. She's really getting into the vocals in this in a good way. So Your Blues, again, another John Lennon song. I think she's succeeding with these. I Got a Feeling, excellent song choice. I love the fact that she covered I Got a Feeling, but it doesn't quite have the magic of the original. The original is just so good. Having McCartney and Lennon both it's two separate songs. They just kind of made work together. But, for the end of their career, for them to be together on one album, there's a magical feeling about that song. I think this is a good choice. I just don't think there's much to, they're not really doing better than the original. Great song to hear live. I would love to hear them drop into this live. I'm So Tired doesn't quite have that vocal exuberance that Lennon brings to that. That's a singular performance of John that I think cannot be matched. And it's just too true to the original. And there's something about Lennon's did you wrong, get a little piece of my heart. She's not bringing it. She's bringing it in a Lucinda way, but not in that sort of almost cathartic Lennon way. Something, no, just no. I mean, that's another one where you're just messing with perfection. With a little help from my friends. Really good. Nice solo to shred at the end. The full band vibe works. The bass playing during the verses is incredible. Yeah, With a Little Help from My Friends works. And then The Long and Winding Road. I kind of like the country vibe, some nice pedal steel action. But this is another one where I think McCartney's sort of cheesy earnestosity makes this version work in the way that maybe it does work. If it does, torn on that song. But yeah, that means what I do is I take the number of songs and the number that work, come up with a percentage. 5 of them worked. Don't Let Me Down, Lennon. Rain, Lennon. Your Blues, Lennon. With a Little Help, Lennon. Ringo. So 3 of them worked, 4 of them worked, but I'm given an extra point because I like the choice of Your Blues. I like the choice of Got a Feeling. I like the choice of I'm So Tired. I just don't think it succeeds. So I thought there were some good song choices. So I'm going to give it a 5, even though there's only 4 songs that I'm behind, right? So I'm giving it a 5 out of 12. That's 42%. So I'll show you what the master list looks like when I'm done. But anyways, what else? Anything else I have to say about this? I think that's all I have to say about this. But yeah, so it gets a 42%. So let's go to the one that she did first. The one that she obviously probably felt the most inspired to do. Lucinda Williams, Running Down a Dream, a tribute to Tom Petty. Can I just say that Lucinda Williams and Tom Petty exist in sort of similar universes? Because this is an absolute home run. The song selections are great. Even when she's sticking pretty close to the original, what she brings to a song versus what Tom brings to a song, they're both bringing this certain sort of emotional energy, but Tom is a much clearer, more concise performer, I would say, though he brings the passion, where Lucinda is not. And it's just both voices work within the context of a Tom Petty song. And I think a lot of the lyrics Tom Petty writes could be Lucinda Williams songs. And so I think there's a lot more familiar ground. And she makes some choices here musically that I don't think she makes on the Beatles album, as far as being a little more ambitious and thinking a little more outside the box. Opens up with Rebels, which I'm 100% in for. kind of a different vibe in the intro. The verses are pretty similar, but the song fits. It's nice and patient. It feels like Lucinda's played this song before. Drive-By Truckers also covered this. I thought their version was perfect. I think The Rebels is just, it's just such a good song that almost anybody can do. You just don't mess it up. But Lucinda almost feels a little more into this or invested. There's a connection there, but I don't necessarily feel she was connecting with the Beatles songs. Running Down a Dream, fantastic. That opening riff, completely buried. It's there. You can hear it, but that's not the focus of this arrangement, which just makes it feel really cool. Her vocal delivery feels like she's sitting back a little bit more and just like not up front like Tom Petty is in his, like really pushing the energy. So I like that. The bass is fantastic. It's another one which just feels like Lucinda's really, really comfortable with the song, comfortable with the vocals, feels like she's performed this song before. There's a great ending solo at the end. Just some really, really good stuff. Both songs, opening, absolutely fantastic. And though I ultimately don't think the next song works, props for picking it. Gainesville, which I think did not get released until American Treasure. It was an Echo outtake. This one is a little more electric than Tom's version. Tom's is a little more acoustic. Tom's has a brighter energy about it. This one seems a little more intense, a little darker, some really nice soloing at the end. I think by the time, like the second half of the song, once the energy is kind of built, I think the song ultimately works and kind of wins me over. But I don't think the first half of it is as strong. There's a brightness to the Tom Petty version. There's that acoustic airiness to it that I think just connects a little bit better. But props for the choice. Louisiana Rain, love the use of organ in this. One of my favorite songs. Just some great keyboards. I don't think it's an organ. I think it's a Wurlitzer. Yeah, there's a great, just that bouncy, comfortable Wurlitzer sound, which works fantastic. Keyboard work in Louisiana Rain is fantastic. I Won't Back Down, too close to the original. And I think the edges are a little frayed a little more. It doesn't have that. Sometimes Tom Petty, the Jeff Lynne sound of Tom Petty, just that really concise pop. I'm a big fan of that really clean, effective Tom Petty. This is an I Won't Back Down that's a little looser and a little more frayed. I don't think this song works as effectively. Highlight of this album, of both of these albums, A Face in the Crowd. Murkier, moodier, darker, kind of haunting. She taps in to this energy. I think it's a perfect cover. It's probably one of the best covers I think I've heard in this series. Her version of A Face in the Crowd is a grand slam. Absolutely amazing. Then she follows that up with a cover of Wildflowers. Excellent. Nice use of organ, nice use of electric guitar, full band version of this. Absolutely works. Just yes, yes, yes. Two absolutely fantastic songs in the middle of this album. We then get You Wreck Me. Another one where I think the Tom Petty energy and the Tom Petty vocal delivery and all that, I don't think it's one of his better songs, but I think his delivery and the band's commitment just makes it work. Here, something's lacking. It's just doesn't do it for me. Room at the Top, there is an awesome sort of effect on the guitar that gives it that sort of watery, resonant type vibe. Instead of playing the chords or arpeggiating the chords as they play like the main theme, the vibe is perfect. It's a little more slow burning, it feels, than the original. Kind of just lets it simmer. I think it's even like maybe 30 or 40 seconds longer, so those vibes can just sit a little bit longer. Another absolutely excellent performance. You Don't Know How It Feels. Another one that just works because I think the Tom Petty simplicity of the original sells that. But the vocal performance on this, it seems like Lucinda's maybe having a little more fun. There's a great organ sound. And there's a groove in this that everybody's locked into. And the keyboard work and the guitar work and everything's just clicking. And even this is another one where I think you can pick either the Tom Petty or the Lucinda cover, and they're both absolutely fantastic. We get a country little version of Down South that has absolutely worked. This is the countryest thing yet. Really fantastic, whole new vibe to the song, but I think it absolutely works. Feels like there's a little more attitude in this one than in Tom Petty's version. I doubt these were performed in like chronological order, or at least the order of the tracks is probably not the way they were performed. But it almost feels that as this goes on, Lucinda's having more fun and getting into these more and taking more chances, and just everything just gets better as this album proceeds, man. And then we get Southern accents, which is too close to the original. I think Tom Petty's vocal performance on that is fantastic. So I'm going to say no to that. And then, very interesting moment, and I'm going to count this in the tally. A tribute song called Stolen Moments, which is about Tom Petty. It's dedicated to Tom Petty. It's inspired by Tom Petty. Lyrics are fantastic. Super mid-tempo groove. Kind of catchy. Tom Petty would be proud if he heard this. He'd be like, yeah. I think he would cover this himself, saying, hey, Lucinda Williams was inspired by me and wrote this song. I'm now going to play it. And it would have fit perfectly into Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers set. We got Rebels, Running Down, Louisiana, Face, Wildflowers, Room, You Don't Know, Down South, Stolen Moments. We got 9 out of 13, 69%. Excellent. One of the best ones I've heard so far. If I had to rank both of these, where would I rank them? That is what the current list looks like. I'm trying to bring it up on my screen, but you can see it on your screen right now. We have the most recent, the first one, Tom Petty, pretty close to the top of the list. Currently at number 4. The Bridge, Springsteen, Ann Wilson, slightly better than this. I think Ann Wilson is taking more chances with the song she picks, but both of those, just the personality of the performance are shining through. But this Lucinda Williams one, it's a solid top 4, the Running Down the Dream. I kind of highly recommend it. And that means that the Sings the Beatles at Abbey Road drops down to pretty much a 3-way tie for 9th with Styx and the Led Zeppelin tribute. But I put it above the other two. It's because I don't think it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I just think she's a little too reverential to the original material. And I think maybe if she had done something more musical like she did with The Face in the Crowd here, or Wildflowers here, or Down South, where she's really kind of almost redefining the song by encasing it or surrounding it with different musical vibes. But yeah, that Tom Petty tribute, really solid listen. And I was not dying to go listen to Tom Petty. Like, I was satisfied. I felt like I had experienced Tom Petty just through the eyes and ears and mouth and instrumentation of another artist. And that should be the purpose of a cover album. So I really enjoyed it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Lucinda Williams. She's got 5 more. I'm not going to do them right away. I'm going to mix it up with other stuff. But I will eventually get to those because one of them was incredibly pleasant. And the other one wasn't bad, like I said. But yeah, so that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on this, especially if you go check it out. I highly recommend you check out the Tom Petty, especially if you're a Petty fan. Or if you're not a Petty fan and you're a Lucinda Williams fan, because that may lead you to become a Petty fan, which is a good thing to be, because he's got some great music. All right, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Do those things. And peace. Talk to you later.